pop the popcorn, grab a Coke, and find that old VHS. We're diving deep in cheesy flicks. Yeah, we're on a vintage quest. Low reviews but high on laughs. Let's give these films a cheer. The cult classics, flops, and nuts, there are topics this year. We're the Ejectables, rolling back the years, celebrating movies that no one else cheers. From backhand twos to epic fails, we say it's all good. We're the Ejectables, yeah, we're misunderstood.
Welcome to the Ejectables, everybody, where our Halloween episode, obviously, where movie enthusiasts Bill, Ian, and Joe defend and celebrate movies that have been overlooked. And tonight, we have a weekly rotating guest every week. And tonight, we have Nat, who is a former podcaster and actually a film editor, a video editor. And welcome, Nat, to the show tonight.
Yay! Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I love your theme song. That's so good.
Let's go. Isn't that impressive?
Yeah.
Well, AI, I didn't sing it myself.
Oh, but very catchy. Very catchy.
Thank you. Yeah. So, Nat, it's so cool that you're actually you're a film editor as well. I know you said video editor, but you're also a film editor too, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of work in trailer editing and like promotional editing for film and TV. So yeah, and I also dabble in like creating shorts with friends and stuff like that. But like my main profession is trailer editing and like editing like those 10-second spots you see on like Instagram for a new TV show or whatever.
Awesome. Oh wow! What's your favorite trailer of all time?
Oh, I really like the trailer for To Live and Die in LA. That's like a classic.
I know. I just watched
trailer.
That. So awesome.
It's a really good one. What else? The more modern trailers. I mean, there's always new ones that I'm digging a lot. Like, and there's some that are like really basic but just done really well. Like the last one that really struck a chord for me was actually the one for the new Joker movie with the what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Like it was just like really well done, and I'm like, oh, that was 10 times better. I didn't even see that movie, but I was like, I can tell that this was the art and the movie was probably trash.
Oh,
so.
I've not seen it, but
I haven't either.
Yeah. But that trailer is really good. It's like super well done. And, and the old Joker trailer was really good too. Like that's sort of a great example of like the trailer being better than the actual movie and like more of a statement. Because then you watch the actual Joker movie, and I personally was like, "Oh God, this is too much."
What's the worst trailer? What's the worst trailer you've ever seen?
Oh man, I mean, it's so much fun to just go on and find old. I love watching like old, like shitty 2000s trailers for horrible movies, like for Norbit or like there's like weird old like I enjoy bad trailers like. At least if the movie itself is like clearly a piece of garbage. So I don't know, like for good movies, it's a bottomless pit of bad trailers. Like there's so many bad decisions that have been made. Like I can't name like one in particular because I don't want to offend any future employers.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a rabbit hole you can go down, and
Bill, didn't you work for on Norbit or not?
No, I worked on 1,000 Words. Which
okay.
It's not as
I love the Norbert trailer. It's really good.
I did not work.
If you can't tell, like I'm a fan of like
I did not work on Norbit. You crazy.
It's essentially the same movie, right?
I'm going to IMDb right now.
It's not. It was supposed to be Nicolas Cage, but I am very proud of that movie, despite all its things. It was on the shelf for a while. Actually, his other movie right before it is a million times better, and imagine that, and that got destroyed. That's a great kids movie, dude, and it's so well directed, But yeah, I did not work on Norbit. I don't even know what Norbit is. I never watched it.
Good for you.
And Meet Dave, there's a really great scene in Meet Dave. We went to see Meet Dave, but that's a kids movie as well. It's hard to judge it by our cynical 20-something guys, but yeah. So
yeah. but no, I think overall there's great trailers, there's horrible trailers, but it's just fun to watch trailers. Like people.
I mean, what trailers give away like the whole movie? What did I watch where I was like, I don't need to see the movie? It's crazy.
I mean, if you want me to talk inside baseball, like that is a complaint that I get a lot from people that find out what industry I'm in. And the truth of the matter is that like people want to know what they're buying, and like trailers test better a lot of the time when you just show most of what happens in the movie, because it makes the movie look good. It like if you want like the trailer to be good, you kind of want to show that it's the movie's gonna build to something. So you're basically showing like 95% of the movie, but that's sort of what you're selling. You want people to see what they're gonna get basically, and otherwise they won't be interested. They'll be like, oh, that looked artsy, or it looked like nothing happens in that. So it's a catch-22, because you have to show the whole movie to sell it, but then people are upset that you showed the whole movie. I don't know.
I still get excited for trailers. I always go to YouTube trailers just to like find new movie trailers, because you don't see them any other way now, unless you
go to the theater early. Yeah,
and they show 4,000 trailers now at the movies,
especially at Cinemark. I mean, it's like 40 minutes before the movie starts.
Yeah, I have a Cinemark near me too.
Yeah, and it's sort of a bygone era when you could only see a trailer in theaters, and you kind of forget it by the time you go to see the actual movie.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't watch the trailer 5 times.
You couldn't spoil it.
Yeah, so you could show a lot more without it being a huge thing. And now it's a little different, because now movie marketing is just, it's this onslaught. So,
I remember for the LA Story trailer, they showed John Lithgow in the trailer, and then when I watched the movie, I was like, he's not here. Do you ever run into that when you see the movie before it's fully edited, and then you choose clips that maybe are not actually in the film, in the finished product?
Yeah. I mean, there are times where that you get a new version of the movie, and then like it's usually like shots. It's like, oh, that shot got removed. Like we can't use that shot anymore. Or like, with documentaries, especially like if you're editing for a documentary, then you get the footage clearance log at the end and find out that like half the stuff you put in your piece can't be used because it was, it's not licensed for marketing. So there's always problems that can occur late in the game. And that's probably like the reason you get some bad trailers, is like they had to do a final pass that changed everything dramatically, like 2 hours before it was due for whatever reason.
And the Death Becomes Her trailer, they had to reshoot the entire third of the movie. So like Tracy Ullman's in it. It's like crazy. And then Jonathan Silverman had a subplot. It's like nuts. And then they had to reshoot the entire thing.
Oh, wow.
It didn't work. Yeah.
It's actually, it's funny you guys say that, because if you sit down and watch the Monkeybone trailer, did you guys watch Monkeybone, by the way?
I saw it once at the theater and once yesterday.
Nice. If you watch the Monkeybone trailer, there's a different scene than what's in the movie.
The pole that falls on him is not in the movie.
Yeah, it's not in the movie.
That's
so
right.
There you go. Perfect example of like they changed something.
So why do you think they cut that then?
Yeah, what? It was a different death, right?
Well, in the trailer, he's on the phone in a phone booth, and a pole falls on him, and then in the movie, it's the inflatable thing. So I don't know why. I have no idea what. I mean, maybe they shot 2 versions of it. I can't imagine they would do reshoots for this movie. I have no idea what happened there.
Just before we jump into that movie, I just want to say congrats on your Megalopolis trailer. That was so good how you put in those fake reviews. Good job on that.
I have theories about how that happened.
Let's share the theory.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like if I had to guess, that everybody involved is a consummate professional, but I feel like a lot of times the word comes from the top that somebody wants to see something in a certain way, and you just have to do it. And then I feel like in the interest of, and like that movie's promotional stuff has been pretty touch and go to start with. Like they didn't get distribution for a long time, and then nobody knew how it was going to do. Nobody knew what to do with it. And I feel like somebody very high up said like,
yeah,
I know that they really hated my movies back in the day. Make a trailer with those quotes from back in the day about all those haters. And so then, the marketing people are like, okay, yeah, that's great. We'll bust that out today. And then somebody goes online and starts searching Pauline Kael's review of The Godfather, and it's like, wait a second, none of these are that negative. What? The only one I could find was from Minneapolis Star Tribune or whatever, and it's like, no, it's got to be Pauline Kael. Like, listen, just throw in a quote, just get a quote, just put a quote in there for placeholder, and then they do it. They use ChatGPT to do it, I'm sure, because why wouldn't you? And then it goes up. We love it. Lock it. And somewhere along the way, it's like they just forget to replace somebody just approves it and it just goes out. And there you go. I don't think anybody was sitting there being like, we'll use fake quotes. Like, no, it's just Hanlon's razor. You always assume the stupidest possible explanation.
Okay.
So
What razor is that? I haven't
movie.
heard that before. Hamlin's?
I believe it's Hanlon's.
Hanlon's. I haven't heard that. That's great.
I hope that's right.
Okay. Right on.
Please back.
Well, Ian loves Megalopolis.
It's my favorite movie, actually, of all time.
Yeah, he's got the poster.
I
If you lose the
right
computer.
there. Oh,
That's great.
Hell yeah.
So
I liked the
speaking of
song in the credits.
Monkeybone,
That was cool.
Ian, what did you? Not Ian. Sorry, Nat. This is your film that you chose to celebrate. What do you love about Monkeybone?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the plot, and then
Yeah, Monkeybone is the story of Stu Miley, who's a cartoonist who is on the brink of success. He's played by Brendan Fraser. His critically acclaimed comic strip, I guess, or animated cartoon or whatever is Monkeybone, who's a crude, crass monkey, and Stu is about to get a big TV deal, and he's sort of he's like anti-corporate, anti-establishment. He doesn't give a shit. But then, unfortunately, he is in a car accident that sends him into a coma, and he gets sent to the coma dream world, which they call downtown, and discovers Monkeybone is real, or is a physically manifested piece of his imagination in the coma land. So then he has to fight back to get back to his body while he's in the coma. Maybe Monkeybone causes some mischief. It's a story of redemption and change. And I chose it because I know this was like a horror themed episode, and like I'm not a huge horror guy. Like I'm not like a horror junkie.
neither am I.
Yeah. No, I see behind you. What is all that?
It's like that all year, dude.
Yeah,
It is actually just not the spider webs. Go on. I'm sorry.
I thought it would be fun to choose like a horror adjacent kind of Tim Burton Jr. type of movie that I enjoy. I kind of like that this movie's like it's not like a horror movie, and it's not a Tim Burton movie, but it's got those elements, and it's kind of disturbing. It's like really weird and off-putting and gross at points, and I feel like that's a genre of horror in a way.
It's the kind of movie my wife would hate. I did not try.
Oh yeah. Listen, I was trying to say earlier when we were talking about like bad trailers, like I grew up in like the 2000s, and I have like, obviously this is like in a sweet spot for like when I was, a preteen when this movie came out. So there's that nostalgia factor for me. And like, I just have like this weird soft spot for like these like crude, dumb 2000s, like kind of crappy movies, but like there's way more artistry put into them than most of what comes out today. And I feel like it's kind of under that whole era is kind of underserved, and like people are like harping about 80s and 90s forever and ever and ever. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like this is right before things changed in like the digital era. And like you still have these, you know, expert craftsmen basically like creating worlds and like shooting on film. And like it's 2001, but like we're still analog kind of. And it kind of dies off like 5 years later, like maybe 8 years later. Like you can't get a movie like this made for like this, like, you know, I don't know. I was watching this movie and like there's this whole third act craziness that happens with like stunts and like it looks pretty good. Like there's these guys are like flying over LA and I'm like, wow, I'm kind of absorbed in this like crazy madcap like silent movie era style like chase sequence that they're doing. And like I just feel like you can't get that with the digital era of filmmaking or whatever. Like they're not going out there and like swinging on poles and, you know, doing like Mad Max stunts for this like stupid ass Monkeybone movie. And so, yeah, I just appreciate all the artistry. I also appreciate the casting in this movie. It's Georgianne Walken did the casting, who was the casting director for The Sopranos. And like, she's pulling out like Giancarlo Esposito and Whoopi Goldberg's in here. And
any relation to Christopher? I don't know.
Yes, it's his wife.
Oh, okay. I think he was supposed to be in the movie I read.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
He probably would have played Death or somebody. So yeah, I don't know. And like even the crappy parts of this movie, which is like the crude, unfunny comedy that sucks, I almost feel like it knows that it's bad. Like Stu Miley seems like he realizes that like Monkeybone is like kind of shitty. And I think that that's like underappreciated. Like this isn't this movie. There's more to this movie than like banana dick. But I don't know. What do you guys think of Monkeybone?
Well, I was thinking that you like this. I was like, why does he love this movie so much? And I was thinking, because I know you're considerably younger than us, that it is that naughty edge. And you grew up in a time when you're like, oh, it looks like a kid's movie, but it's a little naughty. So I could see. And I think it is super imaginative. So I appreciate it for that. But I was 28 when I saw this at the theater. And I was like, oh, I was just disappointed. But it's super imaginative, so I appreciate that stuff. But what do you guys think?
I remember it was super delayed, like Idiocracy. And you go, why is this delayed so much? You know, it's Chris Columbus producing it, you know, Henry Selick and Ham, who wrote Batman. And like, what's going on here? And then you watch it and then you go, oh, I know why. I'm shocked they released it. You know, like, I was like, oh, this is really disturbed and really crazy. And like, what were they thinking? But, you know, I'm just glad that I grew up in a time where a movie like this could get made by a major studio, you know? You know, it's a little bit of a misfire, but at least they made it. Like,
it cost $75 million to make this movie, and it grossed worldwide $7 million.
Oh, nice.
Wow. Ouch.
yeah.
They don't make movies like this anymore, I guess.
Yeah,
That must have hurt. I wonder if like the cast was like really depressed when they found. So it was $75 million they spent on, and they only made $7 million. Is that what you said?
Yes.
That must be what kind of depression do you deal with after that? Especially if you produce the film, can you imagine?
No.
Well, Henry Selick swore to never make a live action movie again because of this movie. Because there was a lot of studio interference, and you can kind of tell it's like sort of fascinating. Like they changed the thing in the trailer. There's that the weirdest part of the movie is there's a scene where Stu has to go to the land of death, and he dresses up as a Grim Reaper, and there's just like this stain on the Grim Reaper outfit that he steals, and I think they have no explanation for it, right? They didn't show it.
I don't remember.
Like, yeah, okay. I think they
don't
cut out a
lot makes
scene.
sense. I don't think.
I think they cut a scene out, and I actually think I had the DVD of this back in the day, and like I remember there was like the cut pea soup spill scene that they were just like I think the studio was like, this thing can't be longer than an hour and a half. Like cut out anything you can.
So another movie I'll do after this is The Two Jakes, the sequel to Chinatown, which I love, but they once mistake the reels at a theater, and no one knew the difference.
That happened to me when I saw the movie Heat, and I was like, "Why don't I understand what's going on?" When I saw Heat the first time, they'd like somehow put the reel in the wrong place.
In Boston?
Wow.
No, in New Hampshire.
Oh my God, that's
rough.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, "What's going on?"
But for Monkeybone, it would not have made a difference.
Probably not. Favorite shot of the movie?
I think it's got its faults, it's got its bad humor, and it's also like I think fundamentally like the soul of the movie is there's no soul really to this movie. Like when you really look deep down, it's like what's his motivation, and it's just like I love my girlfriend, like, and she has no character, like that all stinks for sure. But like I just think there's something cool about the design of the dream world, and then what really sticks with me on this movie, which is really ironic, is like the craziness of the final act with Chris Kattan and the body. Like, I just think it's a big swing, and I love that. I love this movie for doing that. Like,
that's where I fully disengaged from the movie when it went that way. I'm just like, it made me very sleepy.
See, I would like to defend that. I think it's a cool swing to have your third supporting actor like not show up until the last third of the movie, and like he's a corpse reanimated, and he has to act like Brendan Fraser, and then Brendan Fraser has to act like Monkeybone, and he's doing really hammy, stupid Brendan Fraser stuff. What can I say? I love it.
I was like, is it really happening? Are they really doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, they're not doing this. And then, oh yeah, they are.
I think Brendan Fraser was feeling that during, like, I don't feel like he was as committed as I've seen him in other roles. Like he almost seemed trepidatious or like tentative, just like what Bill said. I felt like that was probably going through his head at the time. Do you feel that he was really committed, or do you think that throughout the movie he's like, what am I doing? Was this, should I call my agent?
He's doing this George of the Jungle thing here. Though it's 98% better than The Whale. I'll give it that.
So was George of the Jungle before this or after?
Yeah.
It was before.
Way before.
Yeah.
George of the Jungle was the 90s.
Yeah.
This kind of capped off the Brendan Fraser weird high concept comedy run from Blast from the Past with Christopher Walken, by the way.
That was cute.
And then, which was a high concept bomb shelter movie, into Bedazzled, which I also love and has another ridiculous Brendan Fraser doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And then this, and then after this, they were like, okay, we can't do this anymore. This isn't gonna, we can't.
What was next? The Mummy? What was after this?
Mummy was before. So He had Mummy going. He had these types of movies going. These like sort of edgy, high concept, magical movies.
Also Looney Tunes.
Yeah, so I feel like he got hired for Looney Tunes because he was doing this. Like they knew he could act with puppets and animation and stuff. And then, you know, he was in Crash, and then was sort of the end of the first of that era of Brendan Fraser. And yeah, I'm not as big of a fan of his like redemption arc that he's had. I feel like it's very manufactured.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm not into all that. But yeah, I don't know. I have a soft spot for the guy in this era between, you know, when you're like 11, 12 years old and there's this guy who's in Mummy and then these types of movies, like, I don't know. You can't help but love him if you're.
No, he was a great movie star for sure.
Did you ever see Dudley Do-Right?
I think I did. That was very, very bad movie. Very bad.
You know, Larry Gelbart wrote Bedazzled, and then Peter Tolan and Harold Ramis rewrote it. But Larry Gelbart, well, a genius, is very cantankerous with his work, and he's so upset about that assassination scene where one of his wishes is that he wants to be president, and he ends up being Abe Lincoln. And
Oh yeah.
and Larry Gilbert was like, "What is this?" He publicly derided the movie. It's like he's so upset about that. Yeah.
The last thing I'll say about this, because I know we have to move to the other movies, but like I just feel like no matter what, there is an appetite for this kind of stuff. It's just it makes no money when you put it in a package like this. Now it's like this type of stuff is like Instagram reels, basically. Like you can do something similar for $0 and it scratches that same itch. It's like dumb humor, high concept humor. Like, oh, what if I got hit in the head and then a monkey possessed me? Like there's still people out there doing this kind of crap, but just not for $75 million. So
I know.
let's just be thankful we got it at all, like you said.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you, Nat. I think that's awesome. So, Ian, you did Dark Harvest, right?
I
David
did.
Slade, right?
Yes.
Tell us about what you loved about this flick.
So Dark Harvest, I had anticipated it for, actually, no, I didn't anticipate it because it came out of nowhere. But supposedly, and look, you'll see the Misfits mask there from the band The Misfits, which is actually a throwback to an old movie they took it from. But anyway, Dark Harvest is a story about this town where every year they have to fight this guy, Sawtooth Jack, and eat his insides, which is his insides are candy. And whoever wins the fight against Sawtooth Jack gets a new car and gets to leave this town. And that's basically what happens every year in this movie. I love this movie. Again, directed by David Slade, who did Twilight 2, and he did 30 Days of Night, and he did Hard Candy. I love the aesthetics of his films. This one, I think, has great production value. The Halloween setting is awesome. It really, I don't know, for me, it really tickles that seasonal vibe. I think it has great special effects, a mix of practical and CGI. I think the acting is good. I think the violence is good. You know, it's I don't know, it's a blast. What do you all think?
David Slade is awesome. I wish you picked 30 Days of Night. That movie's awesome.
Well, I think that is too well respected. This movie it was supposed to come out in 2021, and it didn't come out till 2023. Got released in one theater for one day, which was the Alamo Drafthouse. They screened it once, and then it came straight to streaming. So no one knows this movie. And
that's the point of this podcast. It's a good pick, Ian.
You have any of you seen it?
I've seen it.
That's the point. You got to see it.
I didn't even know it existed.
It's a little Halloween movie. It's kind of hard to find unless you purchase it from like iTunes, which I did.
Is it like violent, or is it PG, or is it like bloody? Is it R-rated?
I think it is R-rated. There are bloody moments, but I think it feels like Pumpkinhead meets The Outsider. It's got a big Outsiders vibe, though it's better than Pumpkinhead.
But Pumpkinhead is pretty glorious with its camp, though. I think that's the point.
It's super cheesy. Yeah, I watched that this week with my son. My kid loved this, so if any of you have children that like horror movies, they will enjoy this.
How did you hear about this?
Well, you know me. I adore horror films. And so I wanted to see, I like David Slade's work. So I think I had seen Alamo Drafthouse was going to screen it. So I'm like, ooh, I'm curious. So I read more into it, saw some reviews. They were very mixed because there are points. I know you guys, you write films. So you will see there's some gaps in the story where on second viewing, you can kind of fill them in. First viewing, you're kind of like, what was that thing going on? But yeah, I pursued it because I love horror, and I think you should see it if you enjoy a good horror movie and Halloween stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, check it out.
Check it out for sure.
All right. Who's next?
Well, I'll go. I did Silent Night, Deadly Night, my favorite Christmas film.
For Halloween. It's a horror movie, so that's good.
Yeah, so if you don't know about this flick, well, you really ought to. It was hugely controversial in 1984 about a homicidal Santa Claus. Parents didn't like the idea of them villainizing this key figure for children. So the film was actually pulled a week after it came out, and it actually was released on the same exact day as Nightmare on Elm Street, the original in 1984. And I remember seeing this when I was really young. It came out in 84, but I didn't see it at the theater, obviously, although wouldn't have been too surprising if I did. But I saw it like at kids' houses, like friends' houses, and there was something that when I was watching it, I remember there's something very, very sleazy about it. And there was this sense of when you're a little kid and you're watching something, you're like, I shouldn't be watching this. And that makes it all the more appealing. And I had Catholic school for 12 years. So essentially what happens is this kid witnesses, well, he goes to like this Iowa mental facility for his grandfather. And his grandfather, who's like comatose, actually starts talking when the parents leave the room to this little kid, Billy. And he tells Billy that like Christmas is very, very, Christmas Eve is the most scary night of the year, and be careful of Santa. Otherwise, you're going to get punished, right? So that was really interesting that they turned that on its head, because there always has been this thing of like, don't be naughty or nice. And really the film goes out on a limb and says, well, what actually happens if you are naughty? So anyway, Billy, the prophecy from the eerie, creepy grandfather comes true. He warns Billy and says, essentially, be careful of Santa Claus. And, you know, the parents are driving along this road late at night, and they see a Santa whose car looks like it had been broken down. So they're good people, this family. So they stop to get Santa and help Santa. And Billy's screaming like, don't stop, because he doesn't, you know, want his grandfather's prophecy to come true, because, you know, the grandfather scared the shit out of him. Anyway, they stop for Santa Claus, and Santa kills his family, essentially. And then there's this little baby, Billy's brother, I think his name's Ricky, is in the back seat. So anyway, Billy's obviously very, very traumatized. So then he goes to this like orphanage, and then there's even more trauma, because like the sisters and everything don't understand that like this kid has gotten really screwed up because of what he's witnessed. So every Christmas there's an issue with Billy, because they bring Santa in, and the kids have to like
say, the sisters not being his siblings, them being the nuns in the orphanage.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah, like there's what's her name? Is it Mother Teresa?
Probably.
I forget.
Mother Superior.
Something along those lines.
Oh yeah, Mother Superior.
Mother Superior, thank you. So, you know, it's terrible for Billy, because obviously Christmas is very, very troubling time for him, and Mother Superior wants to like beat it out of him, essentially, and says, you need to sit on Santa's lap. And anyway, Billy grows up and gets a job at a store and becomes a murderer himself. But besides the cool psychology of the film, there are some really cool kills in this. You got a scene with like antlers, right? There's an antler scene in which I think a woman is impaled by
Quigley.
Yeah, say again?
Leanna Quigley from Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, is that who that was?
Very naked in movies, and she again was very naked in this film.
She was very naked in this film. Yeah, exactly. There's a decapitation, which is really cool, and there's actually very creative stuff. And then also murder by Christmas lights, which I haven't seen before. So I like the fact that it was just very, very ballsy. I love the fact that it was sacrilegious. I think because I had Catholic school for so many years, anything that really is sacrilegious kind of appeals, because it sort of balances everything out. Did you guys see it? Did you watch it?
Ian?
I rewatched it. So I remember at the video store, I didn't watch this for years. At first I didn't like horror.
Right.
But this was the big box. You know what the big box at the video store meant? It was porny. And the little boxes.
Is that what the big boxes meant?
It was a big cardboard box. Well, I know
that was a telltale sign for
I worked in video stores, and those always had the big boxes. So this was the one big box in the horror section. So I'm like, what's that mean? So I held off for years to watch it.
Yeah.
And then when I saw it, it's definitely got a porny vibe. Like there's just, and all due respect to everyone, but there's a lot of boobies in this movie for no apparent reason. Like his mom, even during that scene where they run into the Santa on the street, and all of a sudden we see boobies, and it's like weird because it's in front of her son too, which obviously scars him.
Right.
It's
That's why, because I according to Wiki, it's like this rape/murder scene. I don't think he actually rapes her. However, he does like rip
It's a
off
little
her top.
rapey. It's a little.
it is rapey. It's disturbing for sure.
But we don't actually see a rape, is what I'm saying. But anyway, it's still irrespective of what
She was in
Santa did or did
Cannonball
not.
Run. Sorry,
I'm sorry, Ian. What?
that his mom was in Cannonball Run in a more
I did do my research on him. Like, what did this chick do after this? Not much is the answer. But essentially, because of that scene in which Billy does see his mommy's boobies, that actually triggers him. So whenever, in
You
horror
got him
films,
saying boobies now, Ian. I hope you're
I now I'm saying
Hey!
boobies. I kind of like boobies
my
better
mission.
than other words, but essentially in horror films, as you know, the trope is that if you have sex, you're going to get killed, right? And that's even more so with like this Santa film about being naughty. So what I like about that is the reason they have the boobies, Ian, is because that triggers little Billy because of what he saw, and we actually see him like whenever he sees boobies, he gets triggered, and that's why.
And the nuns also make him feel bad when he catches another nun having sex, and then she's like, "That's bad," and so he thinks sex is bad.
I know, but good for them, like getting it all on in the orphanage. Like that takes a lot of balls, right? I mean,
you
good
see,
for
it makes
them.
sense, Ian. It's all
No, it does. It just feels a bit. I was thinking if this movie leaned either more into the humor or more into the horror, I think could be a good film here. Best part of the movie is the new job montage with the song "It's Always Christmas on the Warm Side of the Door" was the song. And if you look in the shelves of the store, I kind of enjoyed looking in the shelves because the movie didn't engage me. So I'm like, oh, that's, they had Jabba the Hutt game. There was a Krull game on the shelf. That was kind of cool. So if you
Quentin
get bored of the movie,
Tarantino spoke about that. He said that we wouldn't be able to do this today, shooting all of those figures. But back then, because we did see it, it kind of pulled us in more. Ian, I do have a question for you as an actor, because you know the father in the film?
he was good.
He was so good. We're talking about Billy's father before he gets slain, right?
Oh, I was talking about the guy in the wheelchair.
No, that was the grandfather. I'm talking about the grandfather is great, but I'm talking about Billy's father when they're driving along that road, and he's the first that gets killed. He slightly reminded me of you.
Oh,
and my question was, because of the contents of this film, as an actor,
very uncomfortable how he laid on the ground with his legs in the car, but his face. I was like, my back would kill. But go on.
I thought he was very believable in that fatherly role. I really liked him in that, and that's probably why it reminded me of you. But my question to you is, Ian, if as an actor, would you, if you got that, would you read or would you do the role of the father in this film if you had the opportunity, or would you be like, no, this is not a movie I want any part of? Would you actually have taken the role as the dad?
Absolutely, as long as I'm not showing my boobies, I would do it. No,
let's see him now, Ian.
No, I did a horror movie this week. I played the dad in this horror movie where I'm kind of evil. So, and I didn't show my boobies in that. So almost did. I'd have a low cut, but.
So what is the price for boobies? Do you get a bump if you show boobies?
I need to work out for like 6 months before I show boobies. If they give me that kind of time, I'll show boobies. But I need a lot of workout time.
That's in your
Who
contract.
was the intimacy coordinator on Silent Night?
I don't think we had intimacy coordinators.
A bunch of degenerates.
Yeah, no,
when did that actually start happening?
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, I bet that was a creepy set. Oh,
Joe and I saw the New Beverly, and you would have thought it was like Woodstock. It was sold out in like seconds.
No
I was
way.
like, what's going on here?
And it was
a late night one, and it was like 2 of them, and people stayed. Usually people don't stay for the second show. They stayed for the second show. I had to take a shower after I saw it.
No, it makes you feel dirty. That's
It's
why
filthy. Yeah.
I love horror, but this just makes you feel a little dirty.
100%. Yeah, it's very sleazy. There's a very sleazy feel to it. Yeah.
Hence the porn box.
Yep, the porn box.
And I did not know that. So, okay, just so I'm clear, in video stores, whenever we used to see those bigger boxes, is that always
Not
the telltale
size?
Not that size. I know what you're talking, and it's like hollow cardboard inside.
Yes,
I know what you mean, but that means that it's a booby flick.
Generally,
So
not.
then why not as kids did we not always just grab those? I didn't know the code that meant booby flick.
I mean, I assumed it meant. I mean, because you didn't see many of those boxes on the outside, only in the back curtain room.
Where Ian grew up.
I worked at video stores. That's why I knew.
I think
Yeah.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah, what was the protocol? Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's some sort of phallic thing. Oh, it's bigger.
No, I think
Maybe.
it's for kids, like for parents. Like,
Oh yeah, warning.
yeah,
It's bigger.
Or
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
couldn't
don't
afford
print
the
anything that
actual
says
cardboard.
rated R. Just make the box twice the size.
It was definitely unrated.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the
Oh,
question,
okay.
Ian, for you as a former video store clerk. If I was like 16 and I went to the video store,
I would
and
rent it to you as well, Joe. I worked in a video store.
You'd rent it to me,
Yes,
even if it was NR.
yes.
I don't think we were allowed to rent to kids unless their parents said they could rent R. So I wouldn't have let them rent that unless their parents said yes.
I see. See, I would go in with my parents because when I first started renting video, it was like a new thing. Like, oh, let's go to the video store. It's super exciting. And yeah, I think I would just grab whatever I wanted, and I don't think my parents really looked. We weren't really cared about
all
stuff
of this.
like that.
I would, yeah. I had video stores, but I was a child basically.
Yeah.
They kind of died when I was in high school.
It's like black and white TV now.
Yeah.
We're old.
But no, I didn't watch this movie, but now you can just go on YouTube and watch all the deaths. So I did that in a
Peter.
5 minute supercut. So I saw those, and the boobs were very much obscured because YouTube is cool with decapitation and murder and throat slitting, but
Not
God
nasty
forbid.
movies.
Yeah.
You can see it on Vimeo for free. There's ads, but I found it on Vimeo for free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you do a search Silent Night, Deadly Night, you'll find it. There's ads, and it's a little bit tricky, the interface, but you'll get to see boobies, actually.
Mm.
Yeah, pretty sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
So, Bill...
Do you want to say what today's who sponsored today's episode?
Oh, yeah, I do, definitely. Yeah,
they're by boobies.
It's sponsored
Ian's
by
Boobies.
by Ian's Boobies. In fact, if it were, my goodness, we'd probably have a lot more a bigger audience. But no, today's episode is brought to you by Grit and Script. We're screenwriters, and if you are interested in getting your screenplay revised or looked at or critiqued, we got you covered. So if you're interested in getting your screenplay coverage, visit grittandscript.com. The link to that is in the description below.
I hear those guys are good.
I hear they are too. They're great and very handsome, right?
Yeah, but
Very handsome. Bill, so you did the Frighteners.
I did the Frighteners. Yes.
Talk to me about this. 1996, right?
It's a Peter Jackson movie. He was coming off Heavenly Creatures, which is a classic movie. Originally was supposed to be a Tales from the Crypt episode. That's why Robert Zemeckis presents it. In fact, I think it says Robert Zemeckis presents. I watched it in the theater when I was a kid, and I was like, "What the fuck is this movie, man? This is crazy!" And I love Heavenly Creatures.
Mhm.
And what was that? Peter Jackson did that puppet thing, Ian. I remember you gave me that.
Meet the Feebles.
Yeah, Meet the Feebles. Yeah, I remember seeing that. So this was I was so excited to see it, and it was so absurd. Story about a architect who gets in a car accident and is able to see dead people simultaneously. There's a murder in this small California town where it looks like Vancouver, but shot in New Zealand, and of a serial killer that kills all these people at a hospital, and someone that was his accomplice was his girlfriend, who's living with her deranged mother, and she's kept there. Michael J. Fox is down on his luck, and he's kind of a grifter, using the dead spirits he's able to see to frighten people and to give him a couple bucks because he's down on his luck. I won't spoil much of the movie except that I watched it after the Yankees' devastating loss, and after some crazy yesterday, and oh my God, it's a perfect movie. It is so good. Peter Jackson is a genius. Danny Elfman agreed to do the soundtrack because he loved Heavenly Creatures so much. And after this movie, Michael J. Fox said, "I'm done doing movies. I'm only going to do sitcoms." That's why he went to Spin City. It was not a big hit, and it's rated R because there was a PG-13 version, and the MPAA refused to give it a PG-13. So Peter Jackson said, "All right, if you're going to give me an R rating, there's a third act that's pretty gruesome." So he enhanced that to make sure the R rating was worth it. Streaming on Peacock, I can't recommend it enough. And there's also an amazing German box set, a DVD set that's like $80 if you're a big fan. I mean, I'm not gonna spend $80 on the movie, but I can't recommend it enough.
I was so excited to see this movie, which I mentioned to you guys earlier. I mean, like I said, I have the poster over there, the big Sandy poster. And I loved Peter Jackson before this. I loved Heavenly Creatures was great, and Dead Alive, which is called Brain Dead, and it's New Zealand. Those were brilliant and original and very much his style. You really felt Peter Jackson there. Here, I feel, as much as I appreciated some of it, it feels like he is trying to make an American film. And I feel like he loses himself in this. And it just, I don't know. Overall, I showed it to my kid last year. So I started the theater when it came out. I was mega disappointed, but I'm like, maybe I need to revisit it. Showed it to my son. And he too felt like I did. It was just sort of like, huh. It's just, I don't know. There's something missing. Maybe that Peter Jackson spark. The effects have not aged super well, the CGI, but that happens. Yeah, I can't recommend it. Buy the poster if you want a cool poster. But if you want to see a kind of meh film, I love you, Bill. But yeah.
Okay. So do you want to vote who gets the who you get to pick one movie that's not your own? Who gets the samurai cop whistle face?
Artist. Wait, that was mine.
Okay, no, okay, pick one.
Oh boy.
Wow, this is hard.
This is very hard, yeah.
That's
Okay,
funny.
I know what I'm going to choose.
I would choose The Frighteners if I can't choose my own.
Yeah.
No offense, you guys, and I didn't love that one either. So what a bad week.
Okay. Okay, Nat, you pick one.
Wait, what is this? I don't
So
know the
you
context.
pick the movie that you love that's not your own out of all four.
Oh, well, considering I didn't watch any of the three, I only watched the trailers, and I watched a kill montage for Silent Night, Deadly Night.
You've known me longest.
I guess I'll choose Silent Night, Deadly Night because I got to watch that kill montage. I also just wanted to say about the Frighteners, like I don't think I've ever seen. All I did was watch the trailer, and then I've seen that poster growing up in the video store as a little kid. That was like one of the scariest VHS covers that was available. Like I was afraid.
Doesn't live up to it.
It was not a big
that
box.
movie. I was like, oh my god, that cover is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't watch the trailer ever. And like for whatever reason, this movie like has not like pierced the like general cultural. There's movies out there that like you kind of, even if you've never seen them, you kind of know them. Like I've never seen. There's some movies I've never seen. You guys will probably get upset with me if I tell you I haven't seen them, but like I kind of know shit from them. Like
yeah,
an example of a movie that I hadn't seen until recently, like Karate Kid. I just watched it for the first time because I wasn't alive when it was made and whatever.
Excuse.
But like there's stuff from that movie that I've seen out in the world, like Mr. Miyagi and like Wax On, Wax Off and all that stuff.
I've never seen Rocky.
You never seen
wow, there you go. But you know some stuff from it, right? Like you know the theme
with
song.
3. Yeah, exactly. I know things about it. There's like a statue
like,
upstairs.
I couldn't believe when I was sat down to watch this trailer. I was like, wow, I have never seen any of this. Like it looked like Casper, like the ghosts, like and I'm like, I can't believe that this movie.
You think Casper's better than the Frighteners, Ian?
I enjoy Casper. Maybe because I had no expectations.
You think Casper's better than the Frighteners?
I had no expectations. Frighteners had big expectations. Look, he did Heavenly Creatures before this, and he did all the Lord of the Rings movies after this. This is his slump.
Didn't you like that third act with that twist? Spoiler alert.
I don't remember.
I
Oh.
just couldn't.
It's
I couldn't
spicy.
believe that I was like watching this movie like I had never seen anything from it. I was
That's
like,
the
"Man."
point of the podcast.
I know. It was unbelievable. So maybe I'll give it the award because it
Yes, Nat.
pierced
Dark
through.
Harvest.
I don't know.
The Dark Harvest.
Bill, what would you choose? Not of yours, but out of the other ones.
I worked with Chris Columbus, so I'm gonna have to go with Monkeybone. Even though I enjoyed our time at the New Beverly because that was crazy. So it's a Monkeybone, Silent Night, and then Dark Harvest. So,
Ooh, sorry, Ian.
so you are now the
You've
tiebreaker.
never seen my boobies.
I have to say the Frighteners, just
Yeah!
because I really like Michael J. Fox. This kind of Michael J. because he's not as like arrogant in his like earlier years, but he's not as old. This is like perfect Michael J. Fox. I like him.
Sorry, Dark Harvest. You get the
Sorry,
seven
Dark Harvest.
top.
No one
Hey.
saw it. You got to see it. No, it's actually good.
I'm sure it's very good. Well, we did it, folks. We went through our movies. You got to make sure you see Monkeybone per Nat's recommendation, The Frighteners per Bill's, and of course Dark Harvest. But most important, because it's the season, naughty. Don't be naughty, and make sure you see Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, we'll see you
Thank
guys
you,
next
Nat.
time.
Thank you,
Thank
Nat.
you
for
guys.
coming.
It's been so much fun.
You're awesome.
Yeah,
We'll need
thanks.
you back.
You
Yes,
guys are
come back
awesome
for
too.
sure.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Happy babying.
Thank you. Appreciate
Spoiler
it.
alert.
That's right.
Yeah,
oh, by
I'll
the
have
way,
to-
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
have to show him all these
Congrats,
movies the minute he's
congrats
born.
to
You
Nat.
know?
Yes, special Silent Night, Deadly Night.
And
Yes.
again, congrats on the Megalopolis trailer.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. It was ChatGPT all the way.
Always is. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.